Hello, future criminologists. It's Sam here, and I know you haven't seen me for a while now because unfortunately I have been very busy the past months and I have just been bombarded with many workloads. So, for the past months, just to give you all a recap of my life, for the past months, I've been busy with upskilling and contributing to my professional growth. So I was trying to earn units in my masters as well as earning units in other professional courses. So I do apologize for that one. However, I have noticed nga daghan sa inyo diri ang nagpangutana kung unsaon paghimo og chapter 1 sa ilahang research. So for today's video, we are going to discuss about the chapter 1 guidelines. So take note, this is just a guide and this may vary according to the requirements of your educational institution. But this is just to give you an idea kung unsa jud ang entire format sa Osaka chapter 1 and kung unsa ang inyuhang ibutang in each part sa chapter 1. Okay? Now, before we go sa each part sa ato ang chapter 1, of course, it's very important that we dive first into the technical requirements because your research, it is very strict when it comes to the technical requirements. And therefore, as students, you must comply with those. So first off, we will go through the title page. So in the title page, we have one, two, three, four parts. Okay. Now, before we start each or before, we start another part, we need to provide underlines. Kaning linya diri, gitawag na nato og underlines. Now, ang kaning si underline, dili na siya linya-linya ra ha, naa na siya number. So, for the first underline, there should be 20. For the second underline, there should be 30. And for the third underline, there should be 20. Now, as for your title should all be in capital letters and it should be bold. For the next part, of course, inyohang i-indicate diha asa ninyo gi-present ang inyohang research paper. It could be the senior high school department, the College of Criminal Justice, College of Education, Information Technology Department, and so on. And you also need to indicate there kung asa nga eskwelahan ninyo gi-present ang inyohang research paper. So as for us, it is presented at the Professional Academy of the Philippines. And you also need to indicate kung asa ang address sa inyohang eskwelahan. For the third part, you also need to indicate there kung unsa na nga subject ninyo gi-comply ang inyohang research papers. So it could be practical research 2. This is actually for senior high school. And as for the criminology students, it should be criminological research 1 or criminological research 2. And of course, for the last part, di dyan na mawagtang ang pangalan sa inyohang members or kamo in general or kung kinsa ang naghimo sa inyohang research. So, muni ang names sa amuang students. Now, as for the other technical requirements, when you need to print your research papers, dapat ang inyong bond paper kay short. Dili na siya long, dili A4, dili letter. It should be short. Now, there should be double spacing all throughout. Ma'am, unsaon man na paghimo ang double spacing. So, kita mo ning mga lines here. Now, kita mo aning linya nga naay araw nga pasaka paubo. So, you just need to click on that one. So, first, inyong i-highlight ang parts sa inyong research papers. Onya, inyo ning i-click diri. Then, there's the 2.0 option. So, you just click on that one. Now, as for the margin, so kani mo ang technical requirements, this is based on the APA format, okay? Or the APA standard format. But I don't know, maybe some other institutions na sila lain nga requirement or technical requirement. So, it varies. However, this is just to give you an insight on how to properly customize these parts or these requirements or technicalities. Okay. Now, for the third part or technical requirement, we have the margin. Ma'am, unsa na pag customize ang margin. So, kita mo aning layout nga tab. You click on that layout tab and then naay margins. Okay, so you click on that margin option. Then you need to customize the margin. Now, as for the left margin, again, This will vary based on the technicalities required by your educational institution. But as for us, the left margin should be 1.5 inches. And for the top, right, and bottom margin, there should be 1.0 inches. As for the font and for the font size, this will also vary. Other educational institution will require the students to make the font as Times New Roman, or it can be interchanged Times New Roman or Arial. But for the sake of uniformity sa amo ang eskwelahan, we use the Arial font. And we also use the 12 font size. As for the paragraph requirement, each paragraph must contain not less than 5 sentences. So minimum nga sa usa ka paragraph na ay 5 ka sentences. And here we use the tab key for indentions. Ma'am, unsa na ang indention? These are the spacings that you make before you start or begin a paragraph. And we also need to justify the paragraphs. Ma'am, how do we justify the paragraphs? Again, you go back to home and makita ninyo ang mga lines here. You click on this part, the last line. So you highlight the areas or the parts that you want to justify, and then you click on this part, and then it will be justified. Or you can just easily highlight the parts of your research papers, and then you click on Control plus J, and then it will be justified. And of course, ayaw kalimtin ninyo ang date kung kanus ana ninyo na publish ang inyuhang research papers. So no need na specify ninyo. It can just be the month and the year that it has been published. Now moving forward, let's go to chapter 1 and its parts. So of course, the first part is the introduction. So in the introduction, there should be only one paragraph. So this talks about what is chapter 1 all about. So this talks about what chapter 1 is all about. Of course, you need to indicate there unsa man ang mga parts nga makita ninyo sa chapter 1. And you in this section, you also need to provide the reason or justification for conducting the study. So for example, the study is about examining the significance of holistic approach in guardianship that nurtures the development of the children. So here, they explained unsa man ang main concept or main idea sa ilahang study. So they indicated that the study examines the significance of holistic approaches in guardianship that nurtures the development of the children without parental care's physical, psychological, social, and spiritual aspects of living. So it includes also the quality of care provided in alternative settings, some living with their grandparents, living with their relatives, and some were in a foster care facility. And again, it includes unsa man ang mga parts nga naa sa imuhang chapter 1. So it includes the rationale of the study, the conceptual framework, statement of the problem, assumptions of the study, scope and limitations, significance of the study, and the definition of terms. Now, moving forward, we have the rationale of the study. So, in the rationale of the study, you need to present 4 paragraphs here. And in those 4 paragraphs, we have 4 guide questions. Now, take note, the rationale of the study should not be more than 2 pages. And it should answer the 4 guide questions. So the first guide question is, what is the study all about? So this will fill out the first paragraph. So here, there will be no supporting related literature. This will just explain or discuss the entire concept of your study based on your understanding or based on the understanding of the researchers. Okay? For the second paragraph, you need to indicate there what do authors say about the study. Since we are talking about the authors, of course, you need to indicate related literature or you need to provide related literatures. And there should be a minimum of 3 related literatures. Now, in this part, sayon kaayo ni para sa amo ang students because before sila mo dive into making their research papers, their chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, ang ilang pinakauna nga buhaton is they need to think about a topic. So let's say the topic nga they have in mind is cyberbullying, or let's say drug addiction, or juvenile delinquency, and so on. So since na sila topic in mind, ang ilang sunod buhaton is they need to search related literature. They need to search about studies that are related to their topics para naana sila idea kung unsa ang gipang-ingon sa authors about ana nga certain topic. So before di ay sila maghimo sa ilang title, magunahuna sa sila og topic, then mag-search sa sila og mga related literature. So that's why it's easy for them to fill out this part. So again, in the second paragraph, it should answer what do authors say about the study. So kay nag-talk man ta about the author, of course, we need to provide related literatures. And there should be a minimum of 3 related literature. Okay? And of course, in this part, you also have to justify nga naman ang kanang mga related literature nga imong excuse me, nga imong gi-indicate diha sa imuhang second paragraph is connected to your topic or to the main concept of your study. And for the third paragraph, you need to indicate or identify the gaps that you found based on the 16 studies and 4 literature that you have reviewed. So once again, ang ako amo ang students mag-review usa na sila og 16 studies and 4 related literature before sila maghimo sa ilahang research papers para dali na lang nila pag-identify sa gaps, dali na lang pud nila ma-fill out ang mga parts sa ilang research papers nga mag-require og related literature. Now, majority of the gaps found from the 4 combined literatures and 16 studies you read. So, this one here, mo na siya majority of the gaps. Unsa man kadalasan nga mga gaps ang inyuhang nakita base sa upat ka literature o 16 studies nga inyuhang gi-search or inyuhang gi-basa. Now, naay actually 4 common gaps nga ma-identify sa students. We have the lack of research, past limitation, lack of knowledge or understanding, and real world problem. So, first off, when we say lack of research, ang usa ka topic or issue has not been studied enough or sometimes not at all. So let's say for example, there are few studies existing on how forensic science can be taught using bilingual materials. Na mga studies nga ang mga forensic science or let's say branches in forensic science can be taught in different languages. However, gamay raman ang study nga nag-exist base ana. So of course, there's a gap in that aspect due to lack of research. Another thing, ang imuhang study is quantitative because you have found out based sa mga studies nga imuhang gipang research kay kadalasan nga ilang gikandak is qualitative study. So still that is lack of research in a way nga gamay ra or let's say gamay ra ang conduct ana nga research method. Okay? Next is past limitation. So here, previous studies tried to explore the topic, but there were limitations. It could be due to outdated methods, it could be due to small sample sizes, or there were restricted scope, or there was a restricted scope. So for example, there is a criminology study from 1990, and they have relied only on handwritten document analysis. So kay 1990 pa man ya kita na naman ta sa digital age. So naa sila'y outdated method. So pwede ninyo conduct ang same study with the application of the methods that we have now. Another thing na ay nagconduct og study pag 2001 nya ang ilahang respondents kay gamay ra 50 ra ka buok. So pwede ninyo mapabroaden ang inyong study by getting more respondents nga maabot sa 100 or at least 500 to 1,000. Or it could be restricted scope. For example, ang ilang study kay gibase ra nila dito sa Manila. So walay nakakandak og study diri sa Cebu. So you can conduct your study or you can have the same idea of the study pero naa na sa atuang kanang area or sa area nga kung asa ka. So that is past limitation. Next is the lack of knowledge or understanding. So there is an existing research na nahimo nga libro based ana nga topic. However, some scholars or practitioners still don't fully understand the phenomenon. Wala nila na fully explain kung unsa jud na ang concept ana nga study. So for example, there may be some studies that exist on question document examination. However, students struggle to grasp the rationale behind signature verification. So that shows a gap in understanding. So as researchers, inyuhang main purpose is to provide more ideas, more knowledge or understanding for the readers kung unsa jud na about ang signature verification. So that diha masulod ang lack of knowledge or understanding. And next up is we have the real world problem. So here it indicates that a practical issue exists in society that research has not adequately addressed. So, diri sa real world problem, for example, na ay issue sa ato ang nasod karon, unya na ay mga research nga wala pa na nila na answer or wala pa nila mahatagan og kaning enlightenment or wala pa nila nakandak ang research based ana nga aspect or topic. So, for example, in the Philippines, counterfeit currency circulation remains a challenge. So, if research hasn't provided effective classroom strategies to train students in detecting fake bills, that's a real world problem gap. So, let's say, for example, sa to ang naso daw, um, it is still a challenge para sa mga criminology students kung unsaon pag easily identify sa counterfeit bills or counterfeited bills. So, wala pa naka-provide og kaning study kung unsa may mga effective classroom strategy para mas makaila ang mga criminology students kung unsaon pag-detect og fake bills. So, in the real world problem, as researchers, it is your job or your goal to provide some ideas, to provide some recommendations kung unsaon pag-solve ang certain nga mga challenges nga inyohang na-face sa inyohang community or sa inyohang lugar or let's say ang mga problems nga gusto ninyo mahatagan og solution. So here in the real world problem, the research should aim to solve pressing societal issues and not just theoretical ones, okay? So these are the types of gaps that should answer the third paragraph, okay? And for the fourth paragraph for the third paragraph inyo magi-identify ang gap. So of course for the fourth paragraph, your study should intend on how to address the gap. So let's say for example sa third paragraph inyong gi-indicate diha that there is a lack of research due to lack of research due to the topic that has not been studied enough. So, magkandak mo balik sa inyong study because you want to explore more on that topic and you want to provide more ideas about that topic. Okay? Now, for the next part, so second part na ta sa chapter 1, that is the theoretical or conceptual framework. Now, keep in mind, if your study is qualitative, you will use the theoretical framework. However, if your study is quantitative, you will use the conceptual framework. Okay? Now, here, um, so the theoretical or the conceptual framework serves as a map or blueprint of your study. This outlines how the key concepts of your variables, when we say variables, muna siya ang kanig mga related nga para dali siya sabton mga related nga ideas sa inyong study and how they are connected. So let's say for example, Your study is about the effective strategies on how to pass the mock board sa inyohang school. So, unsa man ang pwede nga mga variables? It could be the study time. The study time. It could be the, what else? Mm, it could be the mm, study time. It could be the unsa may mga related variables anak kong kuan. Sige, butanta lang study time lang usa. Then score sa mock board exam scores. So kani si study time, we call this the independent variable. Nga namang independent variable siya? Because kung nakay usbon diri na kay buhaton ani nga part, dili man nimo mausab ang entire nga effect sa imuhang gibuhat. And si score, that will be the dependent variable. Kung nay mausab diri, mausab pud ang imuhang score. So let's say for example, your study time is less. So of course, kay gamay ra man imong time nga gigahin sa imuhang pag-study, mausab jud na ang imuhang score. So basically, ang kaning independent variable, these are the parts of your study nga kung nakay usbon diha, walay mausab or walay maapektuhan nga parts. And here we have the dependent variable nga kung nakay usbon sa independent variable, maapektuhan siya. So just like my example, kung mausab imong study time, kung mutaas imong study time, kung mo lessen imong study time, maapektuhan ang iyahang score. So the independent variable can stand on its own, but the dependent variable cannot stand on its own, and it's so highly dependent on the independent variable. And it shows, again, the theoretical or conceptual framework. It shows the relation of your variables or the key concepts of your study. Okay? So again, atong kuan diri kung unsaon atong i-assess ang strategies kung unsaon pag pasar sa mock board exam or sa mock board sa inyong school. So the variables can be the study time, it could be the reading materials or lessons, reading materials or kanang learning materials in general nga na kay magbase man pud na di ba kung ano sa inyong gipangbasa. So these can be the independent variables. Now, kung bati imuhang learning materials or gamay ra ka og resources, of course maapektuhan sad imong score kay nay mga terminologies nga wala nimo mabasahan and so on. Now, again, keep in mind that the theoretical framework will only be for qualitative study. So the theoretical framework should be based on existing theories or models. So let's say for example, atong ibutang diha ang social learning theory ni Albert Bandura. So again, this will be based on the existing theory or models that have been developed by other researchers. So the theoretical framework, this explains phenomena, mga panghitabo base sa usa ka theory. So let's say for example, social learning theory, ang usa daw ang imong study is qualitative. You want to know kung unsa man ang mga contributions sa deviant behavior sa usa ka tawo. Nya imong gi-use ang social learning theory ni Albert Bandura nga base sa kung kinsa ang mga tawo nga ilang gi-socialize with, makaapekto na siya sa personality or sa behavior sa usa ka tawo or sa ilahang character. So basically, you are using someone else's theory to explain your study. Now here for the conceptual framework, this will be used for quantitative study. By the way, basin malibugan mo ha, so or basin malibog mo. So the qualitative study, for the qualitative study, this uses explanations, reasons, theories to explain your study or justify your study or to provide a framework of your study. Okay? Quantitative study, this uses numbers, numerical values to explain your study. Okay, so see, qualitative, more on explanation, reasoning. Si quantitative, numerical, inyong basihan kay numbers. Okay, now here, again, for quantitative study, we use the conceptual framework. So from the word concept, so that will be like a blueprint. So here, The researcher, the researchers will construct a model based on the understanding of their topic. And this should show how you think the variables are related. So as what I have said, unsa man ang relation sa imong study time sa score. So here you indicate or you show the entire concept of how your ideas are connected to your study. And here you need to provide models of evaluation. So there are actually different models of evaluation. So let me share this one, but you need to research on this one. Okay? And you need to keep in mind nga kung unsa man gani na ang mga variables ngayon yung ibutang sa inyohang conceptual framework, dapat mo appear po na siya sa inyohang SOP. So here we have different models of evaluation. I hope it is visible. So we have the Kirkpatrick model, the CIRO model, the goal-based evaluation model, Kaufman's 5 levels of evaluation, the CIPP model, and so on. So for your assignment, before mo mag-conduct sa inyohang chapter 1, pag-research mo pod og models of evaluation if ever ang inyong study is quantitative. Okay? Kay kani sila, lahi-lahi ni sila og noun. So let's say for example, your model is output, no. Input, process, output. So muna siya ang IPO model. So sa conceptual framework, ingon ani ni siya og noun. This will stand for the input, then arrow. And then we have here the process, and then arrow, and then the output. So muna ang noun sa imuhang conceptual framework. Now here sa input, you need to put the variables. So of course sa input o sa process, those should be the independent variables. Okay, so let's say for example, input, study time, learning materials, process, unsa man ang mga process, time given, unsa pa, giunsa pag-study, methods of study, muna ang process. Ang output, of course, that is the score of the exam and so on. So, sa models of evaluation, lahi-lahi na siya. So, sa imuhang conceptual framework, you need to base that on the models of evaluation. Kaya dili pwede nga magbuot-buot ra tag himo-himo diha og table. Now, keep in mind, since the models of evaluation, nawag tang ako ang noun, wait a moment. Okay, since the models of evaluation is related, wait sa, related to a certain study, of course, you need to provide a related literature as well. So there should be a discussion that are supported with related literature. So let's say, for example, sa imuhang variables na ay study time, what are the related literatures that supports study time? And you also have to explain that on how it is related to your study. Another thing, you also need to discuss the model of evaluation that you have used. So let's say the model of evaluation that you are using is the IPO model, input, process, output. Mag-research na pud ka og related literature that discusses the input, process, output evaluation model or model of evaluation and how it can be applied to your study. Just keep in mind that in each variable nga naa sa imong conceptual framework should be comprehensively discussed in this part, and it should be comprehensively discussed kung unsa ang relation ana sa imuhang study. So keep in mind, for the conceptual or theoretical framework, magbase na siya sa imuhang research method. So it will be theoretical if it is a qualitative study. Theoretical framework, it you use some theories to justify or explain your study. Okay, conceptual framework, you use model of evaluation to show the relation between the variables in your study. Okay, and keep in mind there should be a discussion. Now moving forward, so this is an example actually of a conceptual framework. Kani nga conceptual framework, ilang gigamit ana is the holistic personal development. So yes, and this was designed by June Kaminsky. So this is an example kinsa ang nag-design sa imong conceptual framework, unsa ang title sa conceptual framework, and then asa man na nga study gi-apply and so on. And you also need to discuss that one. So you need to discuss all the variables inside the framework and discuss the relationship of each variable and the relationship of each variable to your study and can last up to 2 pages. And each discussion should be supported with a related literature. Okay. Next is the statement of the problem. So the statement of the problem contains the main problem known as the general objective. So mayroon tag general objective. So mo ni siya ang main nga mga problems or let's say questions nga gusto ninyo nga matubag. And each general objective should also have the sub-problems or the specific objectives. So there is the main question and unsa man ang mga questions sulod ana nga main question. Okay? So, for example, the first general objective is that the researchers wants to know the factors that influence the children without parental care to be under the care of their guardian, categorized under the following areas. So, this is the general objective. Now here, the second one is we have the specific objectives. Unsa man na ang mga under ana? Is it due to personal reason, family problems, or is it because to societal reasons, and so on. Okay? So these are just examples. So keep in mind, sa SOP gani, kung unsa man na ang nakastate nga mga variables sa inyohang conceptual framework, dapat mo appear pod siya sa SOP. So let's say sa imong conceptual framework, nag-indicate ka diha og study time. So as for the general objective, pwede ninyo ibutang diha, what are the factors that affects the study time of the students? So ibutang ninyo sa specific objectives. Lack of time, due to learning condition, due to, let's say, lack of priorities, or let's say kanang different ang inyong priority sa inyong pag-study, and so on. Next, here we have the statement of hypothesis. So statement of hypothesis, keep in mind that this is only applicable if your study is correlational or comparative. If you want to know more about correlational or comparative type of research, just check my other videos because dito na ko discuss comprehensively kung unsa ni sila. So if your study is just descriptive, or if your study means to just provide enlightenment, so that is descriptive or illuminative, and so on, then there's no need for you to indicate the statement of hypothesis. But for you to understand, we have two types of statement of hypothesis. We have the HO and the HA. So when managaytag HO, it means that there is no significant relationship between the acquired capabilities and social competence among children without parental care. So HO, null hypothesis, okay? Null hypothesis, meaning walay relationship ang imuha mga variables sa usag-usa. Or wala siya'y kanang, let's say, wala siya'y effective nga direct, let's say, relationship with each other. And here, HA, so it means na ay relationship ang imuhang mga variables. So here again, the statement of hypothesis will be only applicable if your study is correlational or comparative. And this can also be optional depende sa kung unsa ang question nga inyohang gigamit base sa inyong SOP. But basically, ang kaning statement of hypothesis is that you just need to hypothesize, meaning inyohang gihuna-hunadaan kung ang mga variables ba kay related with each other or dili sila related with each other. Next is the assumptions of the study. So in this part, these are the things that you assume in the study, unsa man ang inyong mga gipang expect sa inyong study. And it should be a realistic expectation. It is something that you believe to be. So for example, Sa inyong pagkandak sa inyong study, inyong gi-assume nga tanan nga respondents nga inyong duulon kay mo participate sa inyong study. Sa pagkandak sa inyong study, inyong gi-assume nga naa siya'y kaning positive impact sa inyong community. Sa inyong pagkandak sa inyong study, maka-provide mo og direct solution sa kung unsa man nga challenges or problems nga inyong gi-address. So basically, the assumptions of the study provides your expectations kung unsa man ang possible nga mga outcomes sa inyong study. Okay? Or even during the process. Next here is we have the scope and limitation. When we say scope, mora na ang coverage sa inyong study, and this should be based on the statement of the problem. And it should answer the what, it should answer the who, it should answer the when, where, and why. So for example, the scope of the study only focuses on the vicinity of the Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy. So a school located at Poblacion Minglanilla, Cebu. So that answers the where, which consists of children without parental care. So that answers the who. And let's see, who are desired to be the respondents of our proposed study, which is acquired capabilities, social competence among children. So here, this is the what. This answers the what and so on. Okay. So basically, again, this should answer the scope. Again, this should answer the questions what, who, when, where, and why. So, mo lang ni siya. This, but again, ang scope, mora na, it answers the coverage of the study. Asa ra ang ma-cover or asa ra ang inyong ma-applyan sa inyong study. Next is the limitation. Asa ra na kutob ang inyong study. So, for example, it is limited to generalizability, meaning the finding of your study will not be applicable to all. So, for example, ang imong study, imong gi-conduct sa imong eskwelahan. So, dili na siya applicable sa eskwelahan sa uban. Okay? And keep in mind, there should only be one paragraph for scope and one paragraph for limitations. Do you have to provide the related literature? No, because this will be based on your own experience or in your own understanding. Next, we have the significance of the study. So here, the significance of the study, this talks about the beneficiary of your study. Kinsa may makabenefit sa inyong study. So the first one is you need to provide there for the first paragraph, you need to provide there who is the beneficiary. Kinsa man ang mga tao nga makabenefit sa inyong study. And second paragraph is why will they benefit from the study. Now, for the beneficiaries or the significance of the study, it can either be deductive or inductive. It can start from the top to the bottom. So for example, ang makabenefit sa inyong study kay ang researchers. So muna siya pinakagamay. So hangtod sa maabot sa agency or sa community. Or let's say ang mga maka-benefit sa inyong study kay ang school. Gikan sa school mo adto sa teachers, dayon students, dayon si researchers. So inyohan nang ipang-indicate diha. So for example, ang mga beneficiaries ninyo kay si researchers, police agency, dayon community. I-define dayon na ninyo kinsa di ay na si researcher. Kinsa man na nga specific nga agency, asa man na specific nga community. So that is for the first paragraph. For the second paragraph, you need to explain how will they benefit from the study. So the researchers will benefit from the study because they will gain more insights about this topic, and they can also benefit from the study because through the study they can provide some solutions to some practical, or let's say some solutions to real world challenges. Okay. And then again, sa ato ang technical requirements, each paragraph should not be less than 5 sentences. And again, in the significance of the study, you need to state how important the study is to a certain group or individual or entity. And for each beneficiary, enumerate what findings of the study will give them tangible benefits. So inyohang state diha unsa man ang mga findings or possible nga findings sa inyong study nga makahatag nila og practical nga mga benepisyo nganong maka-benefit sila and giunsa man pag benefit nila base sa findings sa inyong study. And then again, you need to arrange the beneficiaries logically according to importance or status. So muna itong gitawag nga deductive or inductive. Kinsa man ang pinaka-importante, si researchers ba or si organization or si school and so on. So here, the researchers, so this is an example. First one is the researchers. So muni, first paragraph. Who are the beneficiaries? So the researchers. Here, for the first paragraph, you need to define kinsa na sila. Second paragraph, you need to explain how will they benefit from your study. Okay, so that will be the significance of the study. And for the last part, we have the definition of terms. So in the definition of terms, this serves as your vocabulary and unsa man ang mga keyword nga makita sa inyong study. For the definition of terms, for each terminology, there should be two types of definition. We have the conceptual definition and we have the operation definition. Bingon ganitag definition, muna siya ang definition sa term nga inyong gigamit base sa dictionary. Operation definition sa term nga inyong gigamit base sa kung giunsa na ninyo paggamit sa inyong study. Or to make it operational, you need to mention the location and the respondents of the study. Okay? So let's say, for example, alternative care refers to arrangements where children unable to live with their biological families are provided with temporary or permanent care in environments such as foster families, residential institutions, or kinship care. So, kanisiya, muna siya ang, let's say, muna taong gitawag nga conceptual definition. And here, gibutang nila as operation definition, these arrangements include foster care, residential care, and so on. Here, ilang gikuan kung ilang gibutang diha as used in the study, ang alternative care, it refers to various care arrangements provided for children who cannot live with their biological families. So just keep in mind, for the conceptual definition sa terminology nga inyong gigamit base sa dictionary. Operation definition, definition sa terminology base sa giunsa ninyo paggamit ana sa inyong study or as used in the study. Keep in mind, in the definition of terms, there should be at least 10 terminologies nga inyong gigamit. And each terminology should have two paragraphs. First paragraph should be about the conceptual definition. Oh my God. Wait sa guys. Because mugawas na jud ang ako ang sipon. Okay. So, for the conceptual definition, again, this is the definition of the terminology that you have used that comes from the dictionary. Operation definition, how the term is used in your study. And again, there should be 10 terms and there should be two paragraphs. So muna siya conceptual and operation definition. And also, kung mag-arrange na mo sa mga terminologies, it should be in alphabetical order. So all in all, for the chapter 1, we have, wait a moment, we have these parts. So we have the rationale, 1, the conceptual framework, 2, the statement of the problem, 3, assumptions of the study, 4, scope and limitations, 5, significance of the study, 6, and definition of terms, 7. So sa chapter 1 na ay 7 parts. The rationale of the study, it provides the entire concept of the study. It explains the study. Conceptual or theoretical framework. You use certain concepts, models, or theories to explain your study. Statement of the problem. It provides the general objectives of your study and the specific objectives of your study. So basically, these are the questions that you want your respondents to answer. So kung unsa ang nakabutang sa inyong statement of the problem, mupod na ang mo-appear sa inyong survey questionnaire. Assumptions of the study. What are the expected realistic expectation base sa inyong study unsa may mga possible outcomes sa inyong study, scope and limitations, asa ra kutob ang inyong study, and asa ninyo i-conduct ra ang inyong study, significance of the study, kinsa may makabenepisyo sa inyong study, and how will they benefit from your study, definition of terms, unsa man ang mga terminologies nga inyong gigamit sa inyong study. So all in all, that is it for chapter 1. Unfortunately, I don't have much time to spend right now. So hopefully, not basically, hopefully, somehow, naamoy na sabtan sa ako ang short, but not exactly short because this is 45 minutes discussion. Naamoy na sabtan sa ako ang discussion today. So that will be all for today, future criminologists. And if you have any questions, just comment down below and I will make sure to answer those if I have the time. So, bye for now, everyone. I will see you all next time. Peace out.